Hello, listeners. Hi, my name is Madhavi, and I'm so happy to have you on Upptalk. You have come to the right place if you want to learn about IT and do really cool things with your hands. We are not just another IT company when I say Upptalk. Think of us as your learning partner dedicated to helping you reach your full potential. We have top notch hands on courses to help you build your business, whether you're new to technology or want to move up in your current job. Let's look around this as our first step towards learning.
This is our today's agenda that we are going to cover. In our day one, we'll see what Pega exactly is and what are the features that Pega provides that will differentiate the Pega from the different, competitors. Like we have the Salesforce and other BPMon challengers and the C Raman competitors. Then we'll see what is the scope of Pega because we know nowadays Pega is in the market, right? It is working pretty well, but for how much time it will work. Then we'll see a very important topic of the Pega CSA, that is a situational layer kick followed by the case lifecycle. And what are the different roles of a Pega platform? Because we know, unlike the other integrated environments, Pega can be used for the business stakeholders, for the customers, for the developers, for the architect. Everyone can use the Pega with the different role, different access. Then we'll go to the Pega environment. We'll see how to navigate to the different, points of the platform. All right, are we good? Yes, we're good. Got. Whenever an individual try to learn the Pega, the first question that they will get is what exactly Pega is. And mostly they try to search it on Google. What is Pega? And if you search this, we'll get many definitions. Like someone says, Pega is a BPMan tool. Some will say Pega is a, low code platform. Because here we don't have to directly give the Java codes or the CS code or the JavaScript. It is like a drag and drop tool where the coding will happen on the back end. Mainly, we have to give the logics and logic-wise platform will do the coding for us. If I have to summarize this, what exactly Pega is in a very, in layman language, then we can say Pega is a software that helps with the business process. If you see now, there are two terms versus software and the other one is a business process. Software, like everyone understands what a software means. For example, we have Adobe Photoshop, right, which is used to process the images and the videos. Then we have PostgreSQL, which is to hold the data into the server or to the database. Similarly, we have the Pega, and all these are the licensed software. For example, if we want to use the services, we have to purchase a license. That's why we are saying Pega is a software because it's a licensed version. The second term is business process. Now, what exactly a business process is? If you see any organization that is there into the market, they have a certain, steps and the flow that they follow. For example, when you go to the bank and you want to open a checking account, right? There is certain process. You go to the bank, you ask for the form, then you fill up those details, then they verify your credentials, then they open the account, and finally they will provide you the account details, right? Similarly, for the healthcare process, for the telecom or for the e-commerces, everywhere there is a process that we are following. Because of that only, we are maintaining an organization process life cycle, which at the end, we call it as a business process. If you have to define Pega in a nutshell, we can say a software that can transform your business process. That means your business day-to-day activities from the manual functioning to the automation that we can do using the Pega. Any questions till now? I have no questions. Right. Now we'll talk about what are the features of Pega that make it differentiate, from the different competitors. The first thing is it is a software for the business people also. For example, unlike the Java or the JavaScript or CS, HTML, all these languages where the clients are not directly involved into the application. What usually happens is the client usually interact with the, buys and the project managers. And they say, like, we have this requirement, we want to develop this thing, share their details. And then we have a developer team, like the whole team is there, followed by the architects, developers, and everyone is there. They try to build it for them. And then they showcase those details. And then they will approve whether it is up to the requirement or not. Right? Unlike those technologies in the Pega, the business people itself have a separate access where they can directly check in the real time what they are building. And they can also suggest things from their side because I'm a business owner, I'm the product owner. I know what I need to be built, what my requirement is. Business owners are directly involving into the application development unlike the other technologies. This is a very important feature that you have significantly differentiate Pega. Then second is it's a low code platform. If you want to learn Java, that is a bit complex. If you want to learn JavaScript, it is a bit complex because there is a lot of coding, syntax and formatting is there. But because in Pega we are not doing coding directly into the platform. We are just building the logics using the certain kind of, you can say, tools provided that will help the developer to develop any software, any application in a very small time. For example, if I'm taking, let's say, 1 year to build an application in Java, the same application we can build in Pega in just 3 months. That is the differentiator that we have. Now, next is the no building from scratch. For example, if I am a client and I go to a company and I was asking like I need some help to build a e-commerce website for me. Right. Now, what the team will do, they will completely start from the scratch. When we are with the other technologies. But in Pega itself provide a lot of inbuilt frameworks. But these are not free. These are the licensed softwares only. But we can buy it from the Pega itself and we can reuse it. And then we can build the changes over the top. I'll also show you this part, like how this actually works. And the fourth one is lot of available frameworks. Because lot of frameworks are already available into the Pega marketplace. You don't have to start anything from the scratch. You can first take a license from the Pega for the Pega base application. After that, we can take the framework as per your domain. For example, I got the Pega licensed. After that, suppose I am building an application for the e-commerce. I'll purchase the e-commerce framework. I'll put together over the top. I'll put my requirements. Because if you see, the core logic will remain same. Whether it's Amazon, whether it's eBay, or whether it's any other e-commerce website. The core logic is same. You have a catalog of products. You have to select the products. Right? Then you have to add it to the cart. Then you go to the purchase. Then you have to add the address. Then you have to complete the purchase. The invoice is generated and send it to you over the email. The core is same. That's why there won't be anything starting from the scratch. That ultimately will save the time for everyone, for the developers, for the business people, for the whole process. I'll give you some example for this one. Business process. Let's say it's a very simple example for a restaurant waiting responsibility. Right? Whenever we go to a restaurant, we like, let's say this is a waiter, right, which is waiting for customers. Once a customer comes, they welcome the customers. After that, they provide the seating to the customers. They'll come back after some time to take the once they take the orders, they'll go back to the kitchen to deliver the same order. Here we have condition like if the customer need drinks or not. If they need drinks, then they will serve the drinks. No, then they will check for more customer needs. Like if they need something else in between. Because they've already provided order to the kitchen, they have to check if the food ready. If it is ready, then they will serve the food and they'll still check if customers need more orders. If then we'll go back to the same thing again, like taking the orders, delivering to the kitchen, if this time the customer needs things or not, if the food is ready, and serving the food. But suppose if that is the last and customer don't want anything, we can simply prepare the bill and we can serve the bill and take the payment. This is a kind of a process where every business is involved, every organization is there. Right? We can take another example. That's a banking one. This one, for example, you want to open an account. First, you gather the required documents. You take the documents. Then you go to the bank. Then first check that we have to do is, do we have all the required documents? Then we can fill the application form if and then we have to obtain the missing documents. If you are filling the application form, after that we have to submit the application form and the documents to the bank. After that, the bank will check the application filled by you is complete and accurate. If then they will open the account. No. Then they will tell you what are the errors and what are the missing things that we have to correct. Once this is done, then again we have to repeat because we are correcting the miss. Yet we fill the form, we will submit the details, and again the banker will verify if your application and the document is correct. If then they will open the account. After that, you will receive all your account details. You have to deposit an initial fund and then you get account opened successfully and they will provide you all the information to the customer. Answer explains the different features and services provided by that particular bank. And if there is any question, any you are having with the bank, then you can ask and they will provide you solutions. And that's it. Then we are ending the process. Just a simple example how we can transform any business into these blocks that we'll consider is a life cycle. Because in Pega, we have to check everything. In this case, life cycle. This is just simple example. Let's say we talk about the scope of Pega. Because nowadays, Pega is in boom. Right? Why that is? Because if you see, has three legs. First is the BPMM, that is the business process management. Next is the RPF, that is the robotic automation. And the CRM, customer relationship management. Pega is in all three directions. Right. But if you see the Pega competitor, for example, for C, we have only the sales force. For the RP8, we have the UA part. For the P8, we have the APN. Right? Even though people will try to, or perform Pega, it is very difficult for them because Pega has a very big scope. They have, hands in all the directions. That's why Pega will perform in the new, at least for the next 5 years. This is all about the scope. We've seen our today's agenda. What we have covered till now, what Pega is. If anyone will ask, what is a Pega? And even for our understanding, it is a software, basically, that will transform the business process. That's a very simple definition. Then the features. Featured, we already saw. It is software for business people also, unlike other technologies. And it's a low code platform where you don't have to sit together and, type tons and hundreds of lines of codes. There won't be any building from scratch because Pega is very smart and they are providing many built-on applications and that you can purchase from them and then you can build top of them. The fourth one is lot of frameworks are available. Then scope of Pega. Just now we covered because Pega is widely used in all three areas. And that is the robotic automation. That's why Pega will perform very good. In at least next 5 years, it is very difficult for anyone to beat Pega in the technology market. Now we'll talk about these things because these things are general topic related to the Pega. Now we'll see in-depth topic of this. Pega. That is a situational layer cake. This is the first topic that will start for the course. Situational layer cake. I'll give you one example. Let's suppose Francis, you started a business and you are launching an application into the market for the first time. You have to check at least 4 things. What is the product or the service that you want to sell? In which region you want to sell? And your services can be availed through which devices? For example, is it available through the web pages or through mobile app, web, any? What are the different channels through which your product and the services can be availed? And in which areas you are providing those services? These are the different aspects when someone launches a product or service into the market. They have to check. So currently you are launching your product into Florida. Right. You are applying terms and conditions because let's say the US government has these separate policies. You have to apply those policies to that. But suppose when we are launching a product into the India, then we have separate policies. Because Indian government has separate policies, the US government has separate policies. If you build your application with country specific, it is very difficult to maintain. Right. Suppose you invest 10 months to build application for you and now you are using same application for India. but it is very difficult because you cannot create the whole application uh, from zero. That's where the situational layer ca- came into the picture, because it's like you are just building the layers which can be easily plugged in, plugged out. Let's see. We have the Pega platform layer, right? What this layer contained in artifact provided by stand, boost, process. For example, this is a default application. When you take the license from the environment, that is the base layer, which contains the tools that you need to create the application, right? After that, we are building an organization layer. I'll take example of Amazon. For example, for Amazon, there are certain things that will never change, irrespective of your channel, irrespective of your region, irrespective of your type of service, department, or anything, right? It really doesn't matter where I'll access or open the Amazon, but Amazon logo will remain same. Correct. If I open here somewhere else, the logo will always be same. The things which will be maintained across the organization, we are putting those things, those policies, those processes on the organization layer. Right. Same thing is highlighted. These are the specialized artifacts for enterprise-wide business process and policies and data asset access to the data in external system. For example, all these things we are putting in the organization layer. Suppose I added something. Let's say I add a logo. I'm working with the same logo for past 10 months. Now suddenly the marketing team told that we have to update the logo now. So if I have an application that is country specific, that means if my application is working in 10 countries, I have to update the logo in 10 different applications. But because this time I'm using a single layer, my application is same. The same application is working for 10 countries. I have to update the logo only at this organization layer, and it will be applicable to all the applications which are built on top of that. Right? After the organization layer, we have the division layer, framework layer. Division layer I have provided because we can include as many division layer as, for example, we can divide our application with respect to different states, with respect to different cities, with respect to different, different kind of the audience that we are going to target. These are different layers. For example, if I take a slice of this particular cake, right, if I take a slice here, let's say, for example, like this one, like this, I will take a piece of this situation layer cake, implementation layer, division layer, like organization layer, Pega platform layer, irrespective of where I am doing this, right? It doesn't matter. I will take all these three layers. Everything will be covered. What exactly is division layer is? Specialized artifact created for reuse on a division-wide basis. For example, in my Amazon, there is a HR department. Right. HR department is definitely is built for Amazon. That's why it is residing on the top of Amazon. Organization layer. Department might have things which is not applicable to the ID department or the admin department. That's why we are building a separate division for that. We are building separate division for the and we can build more if required for admin or let's say the billing department, accounts team. We can build as many divisions as they want. I explained you some time back. There is no build from scratch because there are a lot of frameworks available. At what point we can put these frameworks? We can put this after the organization layer. For example, till organization layer, we have the logo, we have the government policies, and company-wide data rules, the contact details. After that, we can put the framework which is provided by the Pega. Right? Because I am putting this at this level. All the organizations can reuse this thing. This is the third layer, that is the division layer or the organization layer. After that, we have one last layer, that is the implementation layer. This is the application at the end that we are going to build because this will define you the things that you can customize from your site. For example, if you see, it defines an implementation or framework that is customized for a specific division or a line of business. Right? For example, I added HR department division, but I wanted to modify it. Right? I can modify at this place. I got e-commerce framework from Pega. They're out of the box. But if I want to modify it, I can modify it at the implementation layer. Suppose what is the benefit of this situational layer cake format? Right? Suppose I build this application. Now in future, I got to know that I have to add one more application. Or let's say we have many categories. That clothing is a category. Entertainment is a category in Amazon. Suppose I want to introduce one more category. Then I can simply add it into the division. I'll add one more division because we are on the top of organization layer. And everything you will already be accessed by that particular division. And after that, if I want to modify, if I want to add something, I can build one more implementation on top of it. Got, we are good. You got it right. You are able to understand what I'm trying to say. This one. We also covered situation is covered. The CSA lifecycle. CSA lifecycle is nothing but the business flow, which I already showed you. For example, this is the thing, right? We have to convert the business in terms of this flow diagram. If you name any business, it can be converted to a flow. Anything can be converted to a flow. Once we have a flow, we can add certain, provided rules and make it to a case life cycle. Case life cycle basically points out the starting of a process and ending of a process. For example, this waiting for the customer, let's say we are keeping it as a starting. It is a start shape We'll call it a start shape. And where this product is ending, let's say save the bill and take the payment. This is the final step. We will call it as a end shape. And in between, whatever is happening, that is our logic part. That is our case life cycle that defines the business process. Because I already gave you this example, case life cycle seems easy. Because this is what a life cycle is. What are the different roles of a Pega platform? One second. Quote. Roles 1. Total, there are 4 roles. This one. First is the App Studio. App Studio is basically for the business people to do the low code development. Usually 4 type of people are involved in Pega application. First is the customer itself, like the product owner, holds an idea that he wanted to be developed. Second is the development team, which consists of, architect, develop, test. Those people use Dev Studio. Then we have admin studio. Whenever we work on a application, there are a lot of servers involved, right? Lot of things are there, which is working in the background. To whom we have to provide the access? What are the different nodes? What are the different databases we are using? How many servers are there? Are those servers not loaded? Like what kind of? The pressure we are putting on those servers every day. Those things. It's used by the admin studio. And last is the production studio. Suppose if I want to use the artificial intelligence and the decisioning rules, then we have to use the production studio. Made it. App Studio is to create the case life cycle. And for the business people, because it doesn't allow you to do much. It doesn't provide you much complex things. Dev Studio allow the developers to extend the application, which is configured in App Studio. That means I will create some structure, like basic structure, I can create in App Studio. But if I want to enhance it, if I want to extend it to a further extent, then I have to use the Dev Studio, which ultimately developers own. Admin Studio can track how many developers, how many members are using your application, how much traffic is coming. All those things will be done by the PEG administrator. Then the Prediction Studio will be out of scope for us CSIT because this is altogether a different journey. That is the Petty CDS, Pega Customer Decisioning Hub. This is not in scope for now. Then I think now we can jump onto the Pega screen and I will show you quick walkthrough because we have covered till roles of a Pega platform. Now we will see the Pega platform. Navigate. Just give me a minute. Friend, have you ever created your account on It is the same thing. You logged into Pega and then you have created your account and it gives me the 30 days. 30 days access is there. But if you want to use the other access, which is not time bound, and then you can use it in the courses. For example, if you see, I logged into P Academy. This is the interface. First, I need to go to this search. I can search for the system architect. The system architect is nothing but our CSA. Inside the system architect, if you go, you will find the challenge modules. For example, this one. This is challenge module. Wherever you will see a challenge, that means there is a link to open the environment. This one, what it says, initialize Pega instance. For this challenge, you can enable this one. It will take some time and it will be enabled, and it is not 30 days bound because you are using a PGA Community Edition. That's why it is enabled only for 30 days. As I explained you earlier, there are many built-in applications. For example, these are the free applications that anyone can use and start using it. For example, alert and investigation management, support any organization. It wants something for alert and investigation management tool. They can download this thing and they can import it simply. No need to develop. Nothing needs to be done. Just do an import and then try to build on it. For example, what are the key features of this particular thing? A single system to streamline the management of complex alerts and corresponding investigations. A 360 reprol for each subject under investigation with the ability to consolidate data from multiple sources of records. In the one viewed, you see, a lot of things are already available. You name it and it will be there. That means if you want to develop something, we can directly download those frameworks and we can start implementation over them as per the situational layer cake. Word flex for Pega. 1. Flex approval. Lot of things are there. These are the different companies which have built those, these frameworks, small applications for the add-on. Pega interface, monitoring solution. This is built by LTA Mindtree. Anyone can use this thing. Just download it and import it into our Pega application. Let's say this one is up now. I log into this one. I can guide you on this Pega community. When we are working on Pega stuff, Pega provider, this Pega community access. In Pega community, you can search for anything. For example, as we heard about situational layer cake, right? I can search for situational layer cake. There it is. You can find more details on this one. The training courses, the support programs, the documentation. Previously, they used to provide a of Pega application. They are not doing it. Let me check. Some days back, they removed it. I think it is not there. It is not there. This is our basic interface for our App Studio. We will see. We will go through all 4 studios. No worries in that. You don't have to directly code, right? You have to code occasionally. because we'll always to to follow the out of the box. Choose the out of the box syntax if there is something which you can't using the out of the box allow you extend those things by using JavaScript. You can include any kind of code here. How do I deploy? And it's a little bit too early, but I'm trying to get a big picture. How do I deploy my application? For example, this is the App Studio. I'll just let me see it. I'll go to the Dev Studio. Once you're in Dev Studio, whole team is working on Dev Studio. We are building the application. And let's say after a certain time, your application is built now in Dev Studio. Then we have to take a package. We have to take a package of your application like all other. And like you use that Java ID, right? You have seen that. Or maybe in the JavaScript, once the code is done, we have to take a package and then we import into the higher environment. And it will work pretty slow for some time. Does it kind of give you a job file? It will give you a jar file. Correct, a zip file. That zip file will contain all the application details. What are the code that you have done? What kind of screens you have developed? What kind of business logic you have applied? Everything will be consolidated and converted to a jar file that you can download from the lower environment and you can import it into the higher environment. The job file, for instance, would that run directly on a server? Also, they will run directly on the server because Dev Studio, App Studio, all the students work directly on the server. It will be very easy. We don't have to configure anything. For example, if I go to application, distribution, and right, that means I can export the whole applications within just 2 or 3 clicks. That's why Pega is used because it saves time. You see what is a different export type, how I want to export. I want to export using application. These are the different terms that will come in a later point of time. Suppose if I want to export whole application, I can set this one. Let's say 10 teams are working on the same server. Suppose I want to export Go Road. This is my application, my team's application. Then I can export this one. By the time I'll click, it will start the processing and it will give me a ZAR file. You see, this is done. Export is done. I can download. Once it is downloaded, it will be there in the local system. So I take this file. I'll go to the higher environment. Same. I'll go to the configure, application, distribution, and this time I'm importing because I did export from the lower environment. Once I'm in the higher environment, I will import the same file which I generated earlier, the jar file. This is the import wizard, what it says. To upload a new file, please click either or choose file. I choose a file. I have to select that. Go Road. Hit this. Because this is the same. It already exists. This is by giving hope. Then we have to next, and so nothing is required. You can simply export in and start reusing it. Right? That makes sense. Any other question that you're getting in your mind as of now? We because I think it's getting clearer. All right. We can take a navigation on this application studio. Once we log into the the App Studio is basically designed for the business people. Right. Because if you see, we don't have much options here. We can complex tasks. In Dev Studio, we have everything. Dev Studio is like ocean. Once we log into the App Studio, the stop bar is a header bar. In the header bar, first we have a Studio Switch option. If I want to log into App Studio, if I want to switch to Dev Studio, and if I want to restrict some user to switch also, that I can also do. Suppose I don't want business users to see my code, right? Which usually happens. I can restrict those users. That also we can do from here. Then we will show which applications we are working on. Let's say currently we are accessing GoGo Road. That's what is showing GoGo Road. If I want to switch to a different application, I can click on this arrow icon. If there is one more application, it will show that, and I can click and it will be moved to that. If I want to create a new application, which will be due tomorrow, we can see that new application wizard, but it is a separate option. It's a preview. Preview basically guides you. Suppose you are building an application for a phone or a tablet and you want to see how it looks on that particular device. For example, you see this grayed out area, right? This is the web. If I go to this is a tab and this is a phone. Once you will do, it will help you to picturize or visualize like how the thing does work. Suppose this GoGo Road is implemented on phone. How it will look? It will look like this. If I want to create a case, you see that below plus icon. You can click on this plus icon. It's asking what kind of request you want to raise: assistance request, new vendor request, just a glimpse. And if I will see how in tab it will work, I could click in tab and in the web page. This is just to visualize whatever you are building and how it looks. Then we can exit the preview. There is no way for the end user to know you're using correct. You mean the syntax ways. I mean the front end, the user, your end user, if this is a B2C application. Actually, this is not the end user portal. I know this portal is, but I know we're reviewing the app. You just previewed the application. This is the end user portal. This is the end user, and there is no way for the end user to know this is running on correct. It's just like any other app. Because if you see the core of the Pega, that will be Java only. Pega is built on Java, JavaScript, and these are the code behind the Java. But if you see these things, application, more this design, everything is coming from the Java code itself. and end user portal. We'll only show you this part. Application area, it will not show you. Aptitude, code. These things will not come. The end user won't be able to identify anything. For them, it is like a normal application. We can't even decide which technology we are used to build it. Any other question? Currently, we're seeing the studio with respect to a developer mindset. That's why it's a front end. Let's say this is our overview. In overview, we can see which application we are working on, what is the your right, which backup version we are working on. If you want to export application document, right, then we are working on application. We need some official documentation part that also Pega take care for us. For example, if I do export, Pega will download everything, whatever it is you are developing as part of the application into a certain format that we can share if required. But it will take a lot of time. I will cancel it for now. Then application profile. Then the personas. For example, if I take example of banking only, for banking, we might have different personas. We add because we have approver, we have a bank manager, we have an auditor. Those personas we can create here because it's a separate application Pega provides for testing. They are using that is the customer service representative. They are using one manager and one user who will create application. For example, if I want to access GoGo and as a user and suppose anything needs approval, then the manager will log in through there to give the approve like that. Different channels, that means same application which I have developed it can be accessed through the user portal, through the web page, through the auditor, it web, through the mobile app. At Pega 8 API is also there. The case type, and we will cover tomorrow. We are not going in depth. Use these are the tabs, right? Overview we have covered. In the case type, this is the place, the holy place, where we will define the case life cycle. As I have showed you for that restaurant, waiter, white, and the banking process, it is the same process like the flow shapes we are using to drive the business. I will just give you a quick glimpse of it, how it will look, but in detail we will discuss. This is kind of a life cycle that we are building that I showed you earlier. Here also, it is start shade, end shade, and these are in between business process. For example, we identify the enter customer information, then we identify law, then we identify vehicle, and the one business process is closed for identification. These things we have to design. After that, we have the data. In the data tab, we'll all the system of records. What are the different data coming from different location? So no, system linked, everything will be seen here. But it can't be modified because again, it's an app studio. You can only do some minimalistic tasks. The channels, again, like whether you're developing for phone, you see, portal, you can create webmaster, mobile, digital messaging. If you want your application to be accessed through any of these channels, you have to do very simple configuration because it's low code platform. You just need to give the configuration irrespective. You have to give the names. Pega will create it for you. The different library. The I think libraries, the inbred technology. These are the case types. These might not be making sense to you for now because we are not going through these things. I'm just giving you overview of this navigation part which will come into the picture. Let's go to Dev Studio. If you see it in Dev Studio, these are different. Recent was there in apps, case type. They are in App Studio. The look and feel is different because we can add a case type. You can import case type from there. This time, data type. Previously, in App Studio, you cannot add a data type. You can only see it if you want to add something. If you want to add a table, we can add it in Dev Studio. This is the App Explorer, which will help you to see what are the code that you are building with respect to the application. This is the record category, which will categorize all your code into different categories. The favorite, you can mark all the deployment. All those complex tasks will be done in the Dev Studio. You have one option to launch portal because you see, this is the developer portal. Right. This is the backend part. If I want to see the end user, I can create a launch portal. This is the user portal. This is the end user application. This is what they will see. They can search on it. Right? They want to create anything. Let's say I go to this. I am creating assistance request. I want to raise anything. How can we help you today? I need assistance because my vehicle is a flat tire. I will select this one. Continue. This is the end user experience. Account can give anything. Detail. We are populating. Continue. Locate. I will give it something else. The vehicle. I will see. I will see. I will see. I will see. The vehicle. I will see. I will see. I can see. This is for the payment details. it give the details and the expiry date. It is just for the tested. Right. Just a sample one that we can see how we can build in DIGR. You see, request is generated pending fulfillment. This particular request we have raised, which is assigned to someone, and they have received the email also. Just a quick walkthrough. And now we will go back to the Dev Studio. Now application again. You can see GoGo Road is here, but in App Studio, you can only see the application name and you have the option to create a new application. But here you can check the channels like again the phone, tablet, website, Alexa, all those integrations you can do here. Skin roll you can modify here. Skin basically is the look and feel. Suppose this color is coming, this is red, this is green. This comes under skin. If you want to switch to different application, we can create a switch application. Work pool again, we will cover it as part of different session. This is the launch portal. For now, you can see only two. I showed you this in the personas, right? We have one user portal, one auditor. Suppose in end user, also I have different team. I have one manager, I have one director, I have one VP and their portal is different. I can create a separate portal for them and I can test it using this launch portal option. And below is our only place, I would say. Usually in other languages, we have the syntax right that we have to follow. The tracer clipboard and live UI, these are the most commonly used debugging tools. Clipboard basically contains the data that is saved in the background. If you see clipboard, it will show you a lot of stuff which might confuse you. For now, but I am just giving you a look and feel. This is how the data is getting saved in Pega. And tracer basically capture your activity. Suppose when you click on this thing. When I clicked and have these two options, there is certain code that is running in the background. What that code is that you want to capture, then tracer will help you. Suppose if I enable this tracer. Let's say tracer is on. If I click on this configure, I click on anything. It will capture now. Let me see where it is. You see this is running in the back end. These I am just showing you just for a future scope, for better understanding like how things will happen. Because previously you asked about that export, right? How we can deploy. Because these tracer and these things will be part of our CSSA, Senior System Architect. And currently we are only focusing on the CSA, that is the base application system architect. I think we have covered our today's agenda. I will give you one look and feel for the admin studio. Because it's a big application out of the box, they have not provided me that access. Explicitly, I am adding that access to this ID. Just in case I want to show you, I am adding that access to this ID. This is our admin studio. You see, there is nothing like case type data or app explorer. Because this is not for the creation, this is just to manage. Because I only logged in, you can show only one user is there, one node running, one background agent is running. These are the, you can see the background stuff, like the environment stuff, the database and all. This is for the Pega administrator, for the environments, maintain the environments. This is what the dashboard looked like. Friends, I think that's it for today. But if you see, this is a part of it, doubles and I'll say. I'll just show you. You talked about the database, right? I'll show you. If you see currently, I'm not configured anything. It started creating case. That's the thing. That means somehow the database is already linked because it's a Pega cloud version. Pega is already using one. But if you want to see this, I'll show you how the database look like. And if you want to use any SQL server, Oracle server, then you can add this one. You see, these are the Pega provided data, like the databases. Suppose if you want your, then you can create new database and you can link to your my or the Oracle or anything if you're using. But these are the higher complex tasks which will come into the week. If you started this one, it will very complex for you to understand the basic things. Sounds good because Pega is very flexible, right? Pega will do anything. If you want to use it as a source of record, that is a good thing. That is fine. If you want to use it as a in-user portal, that is fine. If you want to use it as a combination, that will also work. But it just, we have to learn it step by step because everything will be there. But if I go into the deep initial, it will be very complex for you to understand. For example, she know just a mart. If you see, this is our course for our senior developer, application development intermediate. Right. If I go down inside this one, whatever the question that you're asking, right, that will come from this one. Managing development. You see, application migration. For the deployment, you're talking about right. This will be part of our CSSA. Exporting an application, how to export it. Linkage of databases. That will come under this data. And integration intermediate. These are quite advanced topics. Web services, like how we can create the API. And there is APIs in there. We can expose our application as an API. We can consume the services, the different application as an API, like the gate, and we can do the post. Well, what about authentication? Pega supports authentication. Oh, oh, many different like authentication service. If I show you, I'll open basically. This one I'll open. I'll create one. except openly connect basic credentials, token credentials, anonymous, and in custom. We have or any other authentication developed in now. Everything is configurable. API is there. That's fine because Pay by default provide a lot of APIs which you don't even need to build it. You can simply consume it. That's good. Any other question, Francis, that you want to clear for now? Because let me open my board once. I think we have covered our agenda. That is our day 1 of our. What is bigger? We are good. Feature? We are good. We covered situational layer, which help you, think when we design an application. Then the case lifecycle we already thought about tomorrow. We'll create one. Different roles we have seen. App Studio, Dev Studio, Admin Studio, and the Prediction Studio, which will be out of scope because that is a different journey altogether than the Pega platform navigation. And we have also seen some advanced topics. At least you have a given yet. You are able to picture now much better. Maybe because you might be thinking if Pega is capable to do these things, or definitely Pega is very much capable. That's why Pega is surviving, put into the market. It is beyond the thinking. Please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@therightuptalk.com.